Welcome. Today we're diving into the concept of constructive alignment, a powerful approach to curriculum design that ensures teaching, learning activities, and assessment are all working together toward the same goals. Developed by John Biggs in 1999, constructive alignment has transformed how educators think about student learning. Instead of focusing solely on what teachers do, this approach emphasizes what students actually learn and how they demonstrate their understanding. By the end of this video, you'll understand why constructive alignment matters and how it can make learning more meaningful and effective for everyone involved. Constructive alignment has two main aspects. The first is constructive, which means students actively construct meaning through engaging learning activities. Learning isn't just about teachers delivering information, it's about students making sense of it themselves. The second aspect is alignment. Here, the teacher's role is to create a learning environment that supports activities leading to the intended learning outcome. When these two aspects work together, students are more likely to achieve the desired results. This dual focus is what makes constructive alignment so effective in education. Let's look closer at the constructive side. According to constructivist learning theory, students don't just absorb knowledge, they build it themselves through experience and reflection. Teachers act as catalysts, sparking curiosity and guiding students toward deeper understanding. What matters most is what the student does, not just what the teacher presents. This means that effective learning happens when students are actively involved, experimenting, discussing, and applying new ideas rather than passively listening. Now let's talk about alignment. Alignment is about ensuring that all parts of the teaching system, methods, activities, and assessments are coordinated to support the intended learning outcomes. Teachers design environments where students can't help but engage in the right activities. When everything is aligned, students are trapped in a positive way, making it difficult to avoid learning what is intended. This systematic approach helps ensure fairness and clarity, so students know exactly what's expected and how they'll be assessed. First step in constructive alignment is defining intended learning outcomes, or ILOs. These are clear statements about what students should be able to do by the end of a course or lesson. It's not just about covering content, but specifying the level of understanding you want students to achieve. For each topic, teachers decide how deeply students need to understand the material, and what evidence will show that understanding. This clarity guides every other decision in the teaching process. Setting learning outcomes, it's important to distinguish between declarative and functioning knowledge. Declarative knowledge is information students can state or write about facts, theories, and concepts. Functioning knowledge, on the other hand, is about applying what's learned in real situations. For example, a law student needs to know legal principles, declarative, but also use them to make decisions, functioning. Effective learning outcomes require students to demonstrate both types of knowledge. Simply knowing facts isn't enough. We want students to use their knowledge to solve problems, make decisions, and think critically. For example, doctors must diagnose patients, not just recite medical facts. Lawyers must argue cases, not just memorize laws. By focusing on functioning knowledge, constructive alignment ensures students are prepared for real-world challenges, not just exams. This approach helps students see the relevance of what they're learning and motivates them to engage more deeply. To achieve functioning knowledge, teachers must state objectives that require students to show their understanding, not just repeat information. This means designing tasks where students explain, analyze, apply, or create, rather than simply recall. For example, instead of asking students to list facts, teachers might ask them to solve a problem or design a project. These kinds of objectives push students to engage more deeply and demonstrate true understanding. Constructive alignment involves four major steps. First, define the intended learning outcomes. Second, choose teaching and learning activities that are likely to help students achieve those outcomes. Third, assess students' actual learning to see how well it matches the intended outcomes. Finally, assign a grade based on how well each student has met the goals. This structured process ensures that every part of the course is working toward the same ends, making learning more coherent and effective. First step is to clearly formulate what you want students to achieve. Ask yourself, what should students be able to do by the end of the course? How will they demonstrate this? Outcomes should be specific, measurable, and focused on what students will do, not just what they will know. This clarity helps both teachers and students stay focused throughout the learning process. Once outcomes are set, the next step is to design assessments that truly measure whether students have achieved them. Assessments should be authentic and reflect the kinds of tasks students will face in real life or further study. This might include projects, presentations, or practical tasks, not just traditional exams. Well-designed assessments motivate students to engage in meaningful learning, as they know exactly what will be expected of them. With outcomes and assessments in place, teachers design learning activities that help students reach their goals. These activities should be active and engaging, encouraging students to participate, discuss, and apply what they're learning. The teacher's role shifts from delivering content to facilitating experiences that help students construct their own understanding. This active approach leads to deeper, more lasting learning. Final step is grading. Teachers evaluate how well each student's actual learning matches the intended outcomes using clear criteria. Feedback is crucial here. It helps students understand their strengths and areas for improvement. Grading isn't just about assigning a number, it's about supporting learning and growth. When students know exactly what's expected and how they'll be assessed, the process feels fair and transparent. Constructive alignment emphasizes active learning. The teacher's job is to create an environment where students are encouraged to participate, ask questions, and apply their knowledge. This approach recognizes that students learn best when they're actively involved, not just passively receiving information. By designing activities that require engagement, teachers help students build deeper understanding and develop skills they'll use beyond the classroom. Constructive alignment assessment isn't just a final check, it's a learning experience in itself. Authentic assessments mirror real-world tasks and encourage students to engage deeply with the material. This approach, known as assessment for learning, helps students see the value in what they're doing and prepares them for future challenges. When assessments are aligned with outcomes and activities, students know exactly what's expected and how to succeed. Wrap up: constructive alignment brings clarity, fairness, and effectiveness to education. Students know what's expected, teachers have a clear roadmap, and assessments truly measure meaningful learning. By focusing on what students do and aligning every part of the teaching process, constructive alignment helps everyone achieve better outcomes. Whether you're a teacher, student, or curriculum designer, understanding this approach can transform the learning experience for the better.